Hello dear viewers, support me by subscribing to my channel and share my video if you like it, and also make sure you comment your thoughts. Now let's start the video. Pain's attack had turned the once bustling ninja village into something that looked like a mashed up Lego set. Stepped on by a kaiju. Buildings, gone. Trees, toast, peace, good one. The night was bitterly cold, the kind of cold that made you want to punch something just to feel alive, which ironically was the exact opposite of what had just happened to Naruto Uzumaki. In a modest, half-burned room that smelled like ashes and betrayal, moonlight dripped through a shattered window, pooling on the still form of a blonde-haired teen, lying face-up on a futon. His signature orange jacket, now torn and bloodied, was stained the kind of red you only see in horror movies, or after a poorly thought-out prank involving ketchup and shadow clones. A kunai, still humming faintly with wind chakra, lay discarded on the floor, like a forgotten party favor. The party. A very exclusive one-person murder party, and the guest of dishonor, Naruto freaking Uzumaki, savior of the village, ramen connoisseur, occasional menace, dead. Standing over him like the world's worst bedtime storyteller was Danzo Shimura, the human embodiment of a suspicious cough. Wrapped in more bandages than a hospital gift shop, Danzo stared at the boy with all the emotional depth of a soggy rice cracker. "Blame Saru for this, Naruto," he said flatly, because of course he dumped this on a dead guy and a retired Hokage. He let the kunai fall from his fingers, like he was discarding a used tissue instead of the murder weapon of Konoha's most promising hero. Blood soaked into the futon, whispering secrets of regret and ruined dreams. But Danzo wasn't listening. He was too busy mentally rearranging the political chessboard. "With this, the threat has been silenced," he muttered, already turning on his heel like a discount Bond villain. "Now, to use the Hyuga clan. Because nothing screams good leadership like emotional blackmail and clan manipulation. So picture this. You're dead. Or at least, you were dead. That's a pretty important detail. Because the last thing Naruto Uzumaki remembered was falling asleep in his bed back in Konoha. Tired, sore, but victorious. The kind of tired where your whole body feels like cooked ramen noodles. He'd saved the village. People cheered. Sakura didn't punch him for once. Everything was going great. And now he was lying in the center of a smoking crater, like someone had tried to microwave the floor and accidentally summoned him instead. "Wake up!" The voice jabbed into his mind like a lecture from Sonad, or worse, Iruka's disappointed tone, which in its own way hurt more than getting punched through a building. Naruto groaned, blinking up at trees. That was his first real clue that something was seriously off. Konoha wasn't exactly famous for its forests smack dab in the middle of downtown. His body felt floaty. Not chakra, floaty. More like, I had 3 bowls of ramen and forgot to sleep. Floaty. He pushed himself upright and realized he was surrounded by wreckage, like the world had rage quit and tried to erase him from existence. Earth cracked around him, his clothes were dusty, his limbs shaky, but he was fine. Cue the internal screaming. QB? He thought, reaching inward like he always did when life started getting too weird. A rumble echoed through his thoughts, deep and grumpy. Boy, we died. Naruto stopped breathing. No. Seriously. For a full 5 seconds, he just forgot how to breathe. His brain tried to reboot like an old computer. You what? Dead. Slain. Snuffed. You were murdered in your sleep. Danzo's doing. Real dramatic. Classic betrayal. Kurama's voice was all sarcasm and fire, like he'd had way too much coffee. No way I would have remembered that. You don't usually remember getting stabbed in the heart. Naruto let out a shaky breath and stumbled to his feet, trying to pretend he hadn't just been given the worst morning update of all time. Dusting himself off, he noticed something even weirder. People. Lots of people. Standing at the edge of the crater like they just found a baby dragon at the bottom of a cereal box, holding tiny black devices that blinked and clicked. Some looked terrified, others just confused. One guy was filming vertically, the horror. Cameras, are they recording me? Naruto straightened up awkwardly. Hey, anyone know what's going on here? No answer, just more blinking, flashing lights, and one lady visibly mouthing, "Is this a cosplay thing?" And then Kurama, bless his snarky soul, said the words that really made Naruto's stomach do somersaults. Look up. Naruto did. Skyscrapers, neon signs, giant digital billboards with a grinning man selling something called Cola Zero Energy Blast. The air buzzed with life, machines, and a level of confusion, only rivaled by being trapped in a Junjutsu, designed by a caffeinated Kakashi. This wasn't Konoha. This wasn't even Naruto's world. Back inside his mind, Kurama dropped the final bomb like a fox-shaped mic. Denso killed you. You're serious? He wanted control. You were the biggest threat. No guards, no warning, just slice, stab, dead. That Cyclops mummy. Naruto's fists clenched. Anger rose like a storm, thick and wild. But he forced it back down. This wasn't the time. No, the time was now. Apparently try not to get arrested or dissected for being a weird guy in a crater. He turned to the crowd, forcing a grin so awkward it could have cracked a mirror. Hi, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Where exactly am I? More silence. Then chaos. A man screamed. A kid dropped his ice cream, and the crowd scattered like he'd just declared himself a radioactive llama. Apparently, giant chakra craters were frowned upon in this neighborhood. Just great. Then, like a scene from a movie or, okay, a really expensive comic book, she appeared. A blur of blue and red shot through the air, hair like spun gold, trailing behind her. She hovered above the crater, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the boy below like a teacher grading homework. Naruto stared. She's flying, he muttered, brain struggling to catch up. Like pain, except, not evil. Her blue suit shimmered with power. The red cape flapped dramatically behind her, like it had a personal wind generator. There was a symbol on her chest, a yellow one, kind of like an S wearing a seatbelt. Naruto gulped. Okay, not an illusion. He raised a hand and smiled. Hello. To his complete shock, she smiled back. Hello, she said in fluent, unaccented Japanese, or whatever the heck he was speaking now. Naruto blinked. Wait, you can understand me? Either she had a translation jutsu built into her earrings, or something way bigger was happening. He filed that under questions for later, right next to did I actually die? And what even is Cola Zero Energy Blast? The crater wasn't even 10 minutes old, and it was already trending. If there were ninja reporters in this world, Naruto was certain they'd be lurking in bushes and launching smoke bombs for dramatic lighting. But instead, he was surrounded by flashing lights, phones, and whispers that felt more like static than conversation. And at the center of it all, a blonde girl floating above him like some sort of goddess who accidentally missed her thundercloud appointment and landed at a cosplay convention instead. Her hair danced with the wind like it was being directed by a high-budget film crew. Her red cape swirled dramatically, catching the sunlight in a way that should have been illegal. Naruto almost wanted to bow, but that felt way too formal for a guy wearing dusty sandals and ramen stains. She wasn't just impressive. She was impossible. But Naruto had seen impossible before. He'd fought pain incarnate, outrun death, and negotiated with a homicidal fox that lived in his belly. He could handle this. Probably. Thank God, he said, grinning in relief like someone who'd just spotted a familiar bowl of miso in a desert. My name is Naruto, and I'm from the land of fire. Could you please guide me home? It was a simple request, spoken with hope and the polite urgency of someone trying very hard not to panic. But Kara's face twisted slightly, the way someone looks when they're about to explain to a child that Santa skipped their house this year. There is no land of fire on Earth, she said gently. Are you human? Naruto blinked. Do I look like a talking raccoon? He checked his hands. 2 arms, 2 legs, 0 tails. No fur. No alien antennae. Still blonde. Kara chuckled, just a small one, but it eased the tightness in Naruto's chest. She was kind, he could tell, maybe a bit wary, but not hostile. I don't know, she said. You're not exactly normal. Naruto gave her a cheeky grin. No one's ever accused me of being normal. I take that as a compliment. What she didn't know, of course, was that inside his mind, a 1,000-pound fox demon was pacing and growling like someone had insulted his fur conditioner. It's another world, boy. Kurama's voice echoed, grumpy and distinctly not thrilled. Our souls and bodies have somehow awakened here, without our permission. Naruto didn't answer right away. His gaze stayed locked on Kara's curious, worried, grounded, Something about her reminded him of his old sensei, or maybe Hinata, that strength wrapped in gentleness. Do you know how we got here? No, and I hate that. I don't like being dragged around like some summoned beast without even a summoning circle. So I really did die. Naruto thought, frowning slightly. Yes. You were betrayed, stabbed, bleeding. We both felt it. Danzo took everything from you, again. The weight of that truth sat heavy on Naruto's chest. But Kurena wasn't finished. Either find out why we're here, or live like a monk. Just don't get us killed again. I refuse to die looking this stupid. Naruto smirked faintly. You're cranky when you're confused. And you're flippant when your life is in danger. We all have our coping strategies. Next time we talk, I expect better dialogue. Their mental bickering paused, just in time for Kara to offer an unexpected lifeline. Let me check with my cousin, she said. He might know something. Naruto nodded. Great, let's go where he is. Kara smiled, but shook her head. No need. He'll come to us. Naruto blinked and looked around again. The crowd had only grown. Some people looked scared. A few had already begun whispering the magic words he was growing to hate. Metahuman? Threat? Containment? Kara noticed it too. Her voice lowered, more serious now. Let's go somewhere quieter. She extended her hand. Naruto hesitated. It was the kind of moment that could go either way. Friendly alliance or unexpected body toss into a power plant. Still, he reached out and gripped her hand. The ground vanished. For half a second his gut forgot how physics worked. He was flying, like actual flying, not chakra jumps, not being hurled by a giant frog, but genuine superhero floaty time. It felt like someone had pressed pause on gravity. Whoa! Naruto muttered, eyes wide, as the city unfolded beneath him like a steel and glass puzzle box. You really are strong. Kara smiled, holding him with ease. You're heavier than you look. I eat a lot, Naruto said proudly. Mostly ramen. The rooftop offered a moment of peace. Well, as much peace as you could get when you were standing beside a flying girl, who could probably punch through mountains and had just yanked you into the sky like it was Casual Tuesday. The city buzzed below them, distant and muffled, like the hum of cicadas back in Konoha. Except instead of cicadas, it was honking cars, lead billboards, and the occasional screaming cab driver. Honestly, Naruto wasn't sure which was worse. They landed with a soft thump, Kara's grip releasing as her boots met solid concrete. A breeze swept past them, ruffling their hair like an invisible hand, trying to style it mid-conversation. Thanks for the help. Naruto trailed off, scratching his cheek and waiting for her to fill in the blank. Supergirl, she said with a small, casual smile. Naruto blinked. What? Supergirl, she repeated, a little slower, as if that clarified anything. Naruto squinted. I know you're a Supergirl, but what's your name? There was a beat of silence, and then Kara let out a laugh, clear and bright like wind chimes caught in summer air. That is my name. Well, my public one, at least. Naruto folded his arms across his chest, nodding sagely. Oh, I get it. You use an alias to protect your identity. Smart. Wouldn't want enemy ninjas launching surprise kunai at your apartment while you're brushing your teeth. Kara's eyes lit up in amusement. Exactly. Though in my case it's more wouldn't want galactic warlords showing up during grocery shopping. Yikes, that's a whole other level of troublesome. He tilted his head. And you don't even have ramen here? Unfortunately, no. Naruto frowned like someone had just told him frogs were extinct. This place really is a wasteland. Kara laughed again. And you? What do I call you? Naruto straightened up proudly. I am a shinobi and a sage, a warrior of peace and protector of ramen bowls everywhere. She raised a perfectly skeptical eyebrow. You don't look like one. Naruto gasped, clutching his chest with the melodrama of someone who just discovered their favorite anime was cancelled. I take offense to that. I am a great ninja with many achievements. Uh-huh, she said, arms crossing. Like? I defeated a giant snake, talked down a psycho with 6 piercings, survived a literal invasion, and much more. Wow, that escalated quickly. Naruto puffed up his chest, radiating pride. And I once tricked Kakashi-sensei into thinking I was studying when I was actually drawing a new jutsu on my pants. Kara tilted her head. That last one doesn't sound like an achievement. It is when your teacher has a ninja dog that can sniff out lies. Okay, that's fair. They both chuckled. The rooftop air felt lighter somehow, the tension from earlier slowly melting like ice under sunlight. For the first time since Naruto had clawed his way back into the world of the living, and possibly other living, he didn't feel completely out of place. There was still confusion. Questions. The weight of betrayal back home, and the mystery of how he ended up in this neon jungle of weird names and flying people. But right now, he was talking, he was laughing. If Kara's entrance had been dramatic, the guy who landed next could only be described as cinematically over the top. With a gust of wind and the subtle whoosh of someone too cool for stairs, he appeared floating down like a divine press conference. Broad-shouldered, square-jawed, and wearing a cape so regal it probably had its own mailing address. The man looked like he could lift mountains and lecture you about taxes at the same time. Naruto stared. Not at the glowing red and yellow septon on his chest, not even at the fact that he was clearly also defying gravity. Nope, it was the red underwear. Right there, bold, on the outside, like it paid rent. Naruto blinked twice. Then, in a tone of utter disbelief, he asked the only logical question. Why are you wearing your underwear on top? The rooftop fell so silent you could hear a pigeon rethink its life choices. Kara's eyes widened. For half a second, she looked torn between horror and delight. Then she lost it. Ha ha ha. She tried to muffle the sound with her hand, but her shoulders were shaking like a leaf in a thunderstorm. She was definitely laughing too hard for someone who fought Doomsday last month. Even Superman, yes, Superman, sighed. It was a dignified sigh, full of resignation and the eternal patience of someone who'd heard this question too many times at Justice League brunch. It's not underwear, Clark said, voice low and amused. It was inspired by professional wrestling uniforms. The look is symbolic. Naruto tilted his head. You do know there are other ways to stand out, right? Like face tattoos. Or walking around with a giant toad. Clark actually chuckled under his breath. Noted. Kara was still snickering behind him. All right, Clark said, regaining his composure. Let's talk. Do you know how you got here? Naruto's face turned serious. The grin slipped, replaced by the quiet intensity he wore during life-or-death missions. Arms crossed, eyes narrowed just slightly, he answered. No, I was asleep, then suddenly, I woke up in the park. Clark nodded slowly, his gaze turned analytical, scanning Naruto with quiet precision. X-ray vision kicked in, and what he saw made his brow crease. The kid was human, yes, but his biology was different. His muscle density was far above normal, bordering on superhuman. Chakra? Maybe. But to Clark, it looked like compressed power, a hidden energy lying coiled beneath his skin like a sleeping dragon. Kryptonian levels of durability, which made one thing clear. This boy, Naruto, wasn't just some lost traveler. He was dangerous and powerful, but also hurting. You're in a different world, Clark said gently. A different dimension, to be exact. Naruto didn't flinch, didn't even blink, just nodded. Okay. Kara and Clark shared a brief glance. That was an oddly chill reaction. Most people freak out when we tell them that, Kara said softly. I've been through a lot, Naruto replied. Alternate dimension, just another item for the checklist. He said it lightly, but there was a weight to his words. Kara, who had also lost her world once upon a time, heard the echo of grief hidden behind his casual tone. We don't have a way to send you back, Clark continued carefully, not wanting to add salt to a wound that hadn't even finished bleeding. Not directly, but we know someone who might be able to help. Naruto's response was immediate. Okay, let's go. No hesitation, but the flicker in his eyes told a different story. Grief, worry, maybe even guilt. He didn't let it show for long, but Kara saw it. Clark did too. They didn't say anything. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for someone is to not mention the tears they refuse to cry. Flying was supposed to be cool. And to be fair, it was, in the same way getting punched in the face by a god was an interesting experience. The wind blasted past Naruto's ears. His legs dangled awkwardly, his jacket flapped like a flag in a hurricane, and his hair looked like it had just lost a fight with a weed whacker. In short, he did not look majestic. Beside him, Kara flew with the grace of a leaf, on the wind. Clark, up ahead, sliced through the sky like he had a personal vendetta against air resistance. Naruto. He looked like a flying dumpling on an invisible stick, but it wasn't the flight that had him sweating. It was what the fox just told him. You will only find failure in this endeavor, boy. We are connected to this world now. Naruto blinked through the gusting wind, trying to steady his breathing. What do you mean, connected? The deep growl of Kurama echoed through his skull like an ancient thunderstorm. Our chakra, my essence, is synced to this world's energy flow, now. It no longer resonates with the old one. Naruto's hands clenched unconsciously. He could almost feel the world around him pulling on his skin, like invisible threads were stitching him into this universe whether he liked it or not. You're saying, we can't go home? I'm saying that someone very powerful severed our bond to that world. Kurama's tone was grim, deliberately, violently. They didn't just bring us here. They rewrote our link to existence. How the hell is that possible? The someone who doesn't follow your precious rules of nature. The fox snorted. It was no accident. You were summoned, chosen, and they didn't do it for giggles and tea parties. The word struck harder than a Rasengan to the gut. Someone had ripped him away from Konoha, from Kakashi, from Ichiraku's ramen, for crying out loud, and they'd done it like he was a pawn on a celestial game board. Naruto's jaw locked. So, what do I do? He can dance to their tune, or break their strings. And if I find them... Kurama's voice dropped low, almost reverent. Then pray your strength is enough, because whoever did this, they're beyond us. For now. For a moment, Naruto said nothing. Then, slowly, he exhaled through his nose. The breath came out sharp, steady. His fingers loosened. His back straightened. The wind whipped harder, but his eyes were clearer. They brought me back to life. But they don't get to control what I do with it. Hey, Kara called over the wind, her voice warm and calm, like sunshine in stormy skies. You good? Naruto turned to her and offered a thumbs up that would have looked a lot cooler if his hair wasn't sticking up like a startled cactus. Peachy, he said. Clark slowed down, motioning toward a rooftop below. That's our stop. She's waiting. Las Vegas, Nevada. The place looked like someone had taken a festival, a disco ball and a casino, tossed them into a blender and then added fireworks for flavor. Neon lights danced on every surface, slot machines chirped like overeager birds, and giant posters of magicians, singers, and Elvis impersonators loomed over the city like deities of chaos. Naruto took one look and muttered, "This place makes the Chunin exams look tame." Kara chuckled. Welcome to Vegas. But Naruto didn't let the bright lights distract him for long. He wasn't here to gamble. He was here to find answers. The kind that didn't come from fortune cookies or sketchy palm readers. Their destination, the majestic Mirage Theater, home of glitz illusions, and tonight, the one and only Zatanna Zatara. Backstage, the noise of the audience faded into velvet curtains and golden walls. Incense hung in the air, like a whisper of mysticism, mingling with the faint scent of stage makeup and lavender perfume. Zatanna sat in front of a glowing mirror, her top hat resting on the vanity beside her. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulders in lazy waves, and her smile was as mysterious as the secrets she kept in her gloves. "Can I help you, Superman?" she asked, turning her chair lazily like she'd been expecting them all along. Clark didn't bother with pleasantries. We need to know if he can go back to his own world. Zatanna's gaze drifted to Naruto. Then it sharpened. It wasn't just a look. It was a magical MRI scan. Her eyes practically glowed as she examined him, seeing through the layers of chakra, scars, trauma, and probably way too much sodium from all the ramen. Her fingers twitched. Her breath hitched, just slightly. "Oh my gods," she murmured. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "That good looking, huh?" Kara rolled her eyes. Clark sighed. But Zatanna wasn't amused. She stood up slowly, smoothing out her gloves, as her eyes never left Naruto's. "You've got chakra inside you," she said slowly. "But more than that, it's like the world's strongest lightning storm got shoved into a teenager." Naruto gave a modest shrug. "I've been through some stuff." Zatanna studied him like an ancient riddle. "Your energy doesn't belong here. That much is clear. But it's not alien, either. It's resonating." Clark frowned. "Resonating." Zatanna nodded. then lifted her hand and began weaving a spell. Her words slipped into the air like silk, ancient, beautiful, and backwards. Emanigiro folhadet et wanits m. The lights flickered, the air shimmered like rippling water, and for a moment, the room was no longer just a room, it was a window across dimensions. Naruto stood still, eyes wide, heart pounding. He could feel it. His essence being traced, his spirit reaching across the veil of worlds. He saw flashes, fire, darkness, a vast void, then light again, then nothing. The spell faded. Zatanna lowered her hand, the magic dissipating like smoke in the wind. Her voice came out quieter now, more hesitant. "You're from here." Naruto blinked. "What?" Clark stepped forward. "What do you mean?" Zatanna's brows furrowed, her voice laced with confusion and something more unsettling. "Certainty. There's no trail leading back to another world, no tether, no dimensional residue. Everything in his body, his soul, it all screams native." Naruto's mouth went dry. "That's not possible. You didn't just get pulled into this world." Zatanna said softly. "You were rewritten into it, down to the atomic level. You're not just here, you've always been here, as far as this universe is concerned. So, here's the thing about being told you can't go home. If you're a regular person, you might cry. If you're a Kryptonian, you might punch a moon. If you're Naruto Uzumaki, you don't accept it. At least, not quietly." Las Vegas was still glittering outside, still buzzing with life, neon lights dancing like nothing had happened. Inside the dressing room, everything had shattered. Naruto's stomach dropped like a trapdoor had opened beneath him. His face tightened, the color draining from his already pale skin. "That's not possible," he said again, but it came out thinner this time, weaker. "I saw everything. Your cities, your world, your people. None of it exists where I come from. You don't exist in my world." Zatanna stood slowly, like she wasn't sure if she wanted to face him with this truth. "Someone made you part of this world, Naruto," she said, her voice gentle but unwavering. "They didn't just pull you through a portal, they rewrote the threads that tied you to your original dimension. Your soul is stitched into this place now. You are from here, as far as the universe is concerned." "No," Naruto said quietly, shaking his head. "I'm sorry." Zatanna continued, her expression heavy with regret. "This is beyond anything I've seen. Whoever did this, they're not just powerful, they're immortal. If they don't want you to leave, then you won't. And believe me, some doors are meant to stay closed." For a moment, Naruto stood perfectly still. Then it hit him. Not like a punch, more like a kunai made of grief stabbing him straight through the heart. He gasped. His legs gave out. And just like that, he fell. Kara flinched. Clark took a step forward, alarmed. "Naruto!" But he didn't answer. He was already on his knees, fists clenched so tight his nails dug into his palms. The floor creaked beneath him as his chakra began to churn, subtle at first like a trembling volcano, quiet and seething. His breath came in ragged bursts. This wasn't about him. Sasuke was out there, alone. The village, what was left of it, was probably still bleeding. And he was here, stranded, powerless, ripped away like some piece on a cosmic chessboard. His throat tightened. He tried to speak, but the words turned to ash. He whispered. "I can't stay here. He trailed off. What was the point? They couldn't hear him. Not Kakashi. Not Sakura. Not anyone. Zatanna knelt beside him. Her voice was gentler now, the spellcaster mask replaced by the empathy of someone who understood. "I know it hurts," she said softly. "I've been trapped before too, in places I couldn't leave, but this doesn't mean it's over." Naruto didn't look at her. He couldn't. He just kept staring at the floor, as if he could punch a hole through it with his will alone. His fingers curled tighter, his chakra buzzed, hummed, like the faint spark of a storm, trying to form beneath his skin. Clark exchanged a glance with Kara, both of them tensing, because they felt it too. A pressure, like the air itself, was getting heavier. Kurama stirred inside him. "Get up, boy!" "What's the point?" Naruto replied mentally. "They can't help me. You heard her." "Yes, and I also heard you whining like a child." Naruto blinked. "You want to go home? Then make it happen. You think sitting here sulking is going to fix anything. No one brought you this far, so you could cry into a carpet. That did it. The pain didn't fade, but something inside him clicked. A spark. A silent roar. Naruto looked up, eyes burning, jaw tight. He wasn't going to wait for answers. For a guy who died, fallen into another universe, and been told he couldn't go home, Naruto really didn't think things could get worse. Then Kurama decided to drop this bombshell. They will survive with better chances now that you are dead and I am gone from that world. Naruto blinked. The words echoed in his head like a bad punchline that just wouldn't land. Come again? He wasn't sure what freaked him out more. The fact that Kurama had said that so calmly, or the fact that Naruto couldn't immediately tell if he was being sarcastic. Don't you remember what Nagato told you? Oh great, now they were digging into trauma flashbacks. Classic Kurama. Naruto's stomach dropped as the memory hit him like a kunai to the gut. Pain Nagato, standing there, bony, broken, and still somehow righteous, telling him the truth. The whole let's revive the Jubi by consuming the tailed beasts plan. Naruto swallowed hard. You think it worked, that they actually pulled it off? They were close, Kurama said. Closer than you ever realized. I didn't think they could be stopped. But our death threw off the balance. The vessel's gone. The chain is broken. Kurama's voice wasn't cold this time. Not angry, just resigned. So our death had one good result. I saw no hope in your people stopping the beast's revival. That hurt. Not because it wasn't true, but because it was. A cold weight settled in Naruto's chest. He'd always believed things would work out if he tried hard enough. But now he wasn't there to protect them. He wasn't there to stop the darkness. And maybe Kurama was right. Maybe they needed him to be gone. Why are you being nice suddenly? Naruto asked, trying not to sound too suspicious. But you know, it was the nine-tailed fox. A low rumble echoed in his mind. A chuckle from Kurama. You're the only connection I have left to our world, he said, and Naruto felt the weight behind those words. And at the moment of death, I realized something. Naruto tensed. What? You are connected to my father. Naruto blinked. What now? The Sage of Six Paths. Hagoromo Tsutsuki. He created chakra, divided the tailed beasts. He was our father, and by blood or spirit, yours as well. Naruto's brain screeched to a halt. So what? I'm a fox nephew now? Don't get excited, Kurama grumbled. It doesn't come with inheritance, only responsibility. There it was, the familiar grumpy sass. Naruto almost missed it. Kurama continued, his tone quieter now, less fury, more history. We tailed beasts were made to guard the world, to maintain balance. But humans feared us, hunted us, used us. You were the first to treat me like I was more than a weapon. Naruto looked out over the neon-lit city from the rooftop, the glitz of Vegas now dulled by the truth unspooling in his mind. You sound like you don't hate them anymore. I don't forgive them, Kurama replied, but I see why they feared us. Naruto clenched his fists. Even now, Kurama's voice carried bitterness, but underneath it was something else. Something heavy and unfamiliar. Acceptance. Naruto swallowed the lump in his throat. Thanks, he muttered, for not abandoning me. For once, Kurama didn't have a snarky comeback. No insults. No huffs. Just silence. The kind of silence that felt like a pat on the shoulder from someone who didn't do hugs. And somehow, that said more than words ever could. Naruto didn't cry. Let's just get that out of the way. But if he had cried, which he absolutely didn't, it would have only been because the whole "you're stuck in this dimension forever" talk had come wrapped in glittering Vegas lights and delivered by a magician in fishnets. That kind of drama deserved some level of emotional leakage. Thankfully, he didn't have to spiral for long, because the universe tossed him a bone. Literally in the form of Kara's hands shaking him by the shoulders like a maraca. Naruto, relax, she said with that all-too-cheerful cousin of Superman energy. I know it sounds bad, but we will find a way back. You just need to breathe. Naruto blinked at her. I am breathing. Through your rage teeth, she pointed out. Fair. Zatanna stepped forward, her magician's boots making barely a sound. She gave Naruto a warm smile, one of those smiles that made you feel like maybe your life wasn't about to spiral into a dimension-hopping dumpster fire. There's no need to lose hope, she said gently. But first, let's fix the language barrier. Please accept this gift of the tongue. Naruto instinctively flinched. Wait, gift of the wa. Boop. She tapped 2 fingers against his forehead. There was a soft glow, a faint hum, and then, wham. His brain felt like it had downloaded the entire Rosetta Stone collection in 2 seconds flat. Words flipped themselves, rearranged, and suddenly, everyone in the room stopped sounding like a group of ramen ingredients, arguing with a blender. Naruto gasped. I can understand you guys now. Kara beamed. Cool, right? Naruto grinned. This is awesome. Can you do this for cooking instructions too? Satana chuckled, clearly amused. Only if you promise not to explode anything. I promise nothing. But the levity didn't last. Satana's smile faded as she brought them back to the serious part. Now about getting you home. She hesitated, and that pause was louder than most speeches. We might be able to send you back, but we'll need time and caution. Naruto nodded. Because of those immortals you mentioned. Satana's jaw tightened. Exactly. If the Olympians are involved, and it's starting to feel like they are, then we're dealing with ancient beings who collect mortals like trading cards. Kara groaned. Ugh, don't get me started. Zeus once tried to adopt me. Clark frowned. That wasn't adoption. That was kidnapping with extra thunderbolts. Naruto blinked. You people really live in chaos, huh? Welcome to Earth Prime, Kara deadpanned. Satan continued, still, it might be a natural rift. Dimensions shift sometimes, like tides. If so, we'll have a better chance of finding your way back. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny glass vial that shimmered with mystic runes. I'll need a little bit of your blood and chakra. It'll help me trace your origin. Naruto hesitated. You're not gonna summon a toad with it or anything, right? I'm more into rabbits, actually. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Should I be worried? No more than usual. With a quick slice of a sterilized dagger that looked way too elegant for this sort of thing, Naruto gave her the sample. Sada capped the vial, already muttering to it like it was a particularly stubborn crystal ball. I owe you for this, Naruto said quietly. Zadan glanced at him, her gaze softening. Don't worry about it, but since you're stuck here for now, you'll need a place to stay. Naruto scratched the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah, about that. I don't exactly have a job or money or clothes that aren't bright orange. You could always work for me, Satana teased. I need a stage assistant. You're already used to getting stabbed. Naruto made a face.
Okay, fair,
he muttered. But seriously, I'm not gonna sit around and do nothing. If I'm here, I'm helping. Got any villains that need a Rasengan to the face? Zatanna didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached out and pinched his cheeks with gloved fingers. How? Hey! Naruto yelped, slapping her hand away. What was that for? You look too sad, she replied, shrugging with a smile. Had to fix that. But behind the teasing glint in her eyes, she had seen something. A soul marked with battle, burned by loss, and stitched back together with pure stubborn will. Clark stepped forward. I might have a better idea, he said. Naruto looked up, curious. There's a team of young heroes. They work under our supervision. You could stay with them, train, and get to know this world a bit better while we figure things out. Naruto blinked. You mean like roommates? Korak grinned. More like superpowered chaos gremlins in tights. You'll fit right in. Naruto crossed his arms. I can't just mooch off people. If I join, I fight. I help. I'm not some charity case. Clark's lips tugged into the faintest smile. Didn't think you were. There are conversations that make the air feel heavy. Like when someone brings up taxes, or asks, what's your body count, and doesn't mean romantically. Satana's voice had been sharp, direct, the kind of voice you use when you want the truth, not a story. Naruto, have you ever killed anyone? The room froze harder than a popsicle in Mr. Freeze's freezer. Kara stopped smirking. Superman looked up with the kind of stoic dad energy that screamed serious time. And Naruto. Naruto didn't flinch. Not outwardly anyway. Inside, his stomach twisted like a shadow clone hit with a bad bowl of instant ramen. But he stood firm, his fists clenched, jaw tight, blue eyes like twin blades locked on Zatana's. I believe people should be given a chance to change, he began, his voice steady, too steady, like it had been rehearsed in the mirror at midnight. Killing only spreads more pain. That's why I don't kill unless there's no other choice. A pause. But I have killed. That landed like a kunai to the chest. Kara's smile faded, Clark's brow furrowed. Satana nodded slightly, like she'd expected as much, but needed to hear it anyway. And Naruto didn't stop there. He spoke not like a boy, but like someone far older than he looked. Someone who had seen things, real things. Things you didn't walk away from the same. He told them about Jiraiya, his mentor, his godfather, his first real connection to the idea of peace. About how he hadn't understood what it meant to choose not to kill until he'd lost someone precious. How he'd been used as a weapon. How he'd fought monsters that laughed in the face of death. How he'd come within seconds of killing men like Deidara and Kakuzu, but the choice had been taken from him. And how, afterward, he'd chosen to walk a harder path. A path without shortcuts. A path where he didn't let rage make his decisions. If I kill in the name of justice, he said, what's to stop the next guy from doing the same in the name of his justice? There it was. Not just a shinobi, not just a ninja. A leader. Someone who decided that being powerful didn't mean being merciless. Satana watched him for a long moment. Then she smirked, folding her arms. You are officially the weirdest ninja I've ever met. Naruto grinned. Thanks. I work hard at it. Kara exhaled with something between a laugh and a sigh of relief. Well, that's one less murder mystery to worry about. Clark nodded, stepping forward with the kind of presence that made you want to salute without knowing why. You don't have to worry. The Justice League has a no-kill policy. We fight to protect. If someone dies, it's because there was no other way. Naruto raised an eyebrow. And you all stick to that? Superman hesitated. Just a beat. Most of us. Zatanna coughed. Batman technically doesn't kill. Technically, Naruto asked. Clark gave a very small smile. He's creative with his interpretation of lethal force. Naruto tilted his head. So he's the break every bone but leave you breathing type. Kara winced. Yup. Naruto whistled. Glad I'm not on his bad side. Yet, Zatanna muttered playfully. Clark cleared his throat. Look, we do imprison criminals. And sometimes, we do it ourselves. Governments aren't always trustworthy. Too many times they've let monsters walk free. Naruto's expression darkened. That he understood. Kages, who turned blind eyes. Councils, full of cowards. Danzo. Yeah, he said softly. I've seen that too. The tension eased just a little. Enough to breathe. Naruto glanced down at his hands, rough, scarred, not the hands of a child. I don't want to be a killer, he said. I want to be someone people can believe in. Clark nodded solemnly. Then you're exactly the kind of person this team needs. Naruto Uzumaki had seen some wild things in his life. He'd seen giant toads summon themselves mid-air, snakes the size of castles slither out of cursed seal tattoos, and an old man turn into a tree. He'd fought men who could raise whole cities and ghosts who wore orange masks like fashion statements. But nothing, and he meant nothing, could have prepared him for Superman's highlight reel. Okay, Naruto said, arms crossed. Let's see what you got. He expected strength, sure. The guy looked like a brick wall, with good hair. But what he didn't expect was planetary deadlifts. The first image that floated in Zatanna's glowing magical screen was Clark Kent holding up the Earth. The Earth, like he'd just walked into the gym, warmed up with a few push-ups, and decided to hold the planet over his head for 5 days straight. Is this a metaphor? Naruto asked, blinking. Nope, Kara answered brightly. That really happened. Naruto's expression twitched. But physics? Zatanna smirked. You'll find those are more like loose guidelines in our universe. Naruto watched as Superman zipped through space faster than his brain could register, bending around solar flares like he was playing intergalactic dodgeball. Is that a galaxy? He passed a galaxy? Yes, Clark said, very casually. I was in a hurry. Then came the punch. The punch that launched a man from Earth to the moon with one arm, while barely squinting. And that guy lived. Naruto asked, Define lived, Kara muttered. And finally, the black hole. That should have been it. The moment Naruto's brain officially retired, because nothing says ridiculously overpowered, like shrugging off a black hole, Clark had emerged from it like he'd walked through a mild windstorm. The screen faded. Silence settled over the room. Naruto just stood there, mouth slightly open, brain rebooting like a lagging toad scroll. "So," he said slowly, trying very hard not to sound bitter, "you were born under a yellow sun, and now you're basically an immortal mountain with laser eyes." Clark scratched the back of his neck, almost sheepish. "Well, I like to think I'm more than just my powers." Naruto blinked. "Yeah, that's exactly what someone who survives black holes would say." He took a step back and squinted at the Man of Steel, like he was an art piece, labeled solar-powered nonsense, circa forever. Kara elbowed Zatanna, and whispered, "Think he's okay?" Zatanna chuckled. "I think he's going through the 5 stages of Superman." And Naruto, was he just hit stage 4 existential despair? "So all that insane strength, you didn't train for it. You just got it because of sunlight." Clark raised his hands. "I mean, I did train, but yes, my biology does most of the work." Naruto threw his hands in the air. "That's so unfair. I spent years learning to control a demon fox, master wind release, dodge death at least 15 times before breakfast, and you just tan and lift moons for breakfast." Kara tried really hard not to laugh. Zatanna didn't even try. Naruto huffed and crossed his arms like a disgruntled cat. "So if I just lay on a beach long enough, I'll punch people to the moon too." "Only if you're Kryptonian," Clark replied, with a smile. Naruto muttered something under his breath that sounded a lot like stupid alien genetics. But then after a moment of pouting and internal dramatic monologuing, he calmed down. Because yes, it was unfair. But that didn't mean it wasn't cool. Most people, after watching Superman tank a black hole like it was a gentle breeze, would either cry, pass out, or begin questioning the entire purpose of upper body strength. Naruto Uzumaki? He grinned. Because somewhere between the absurd planet-lifting montage and the moon-punching nonsense, a tiny light bulb flickered in the back of his brain, and Naruto, being Naruto, immediately tried to rip the switch off the wall. If Superman draws power from the sun, and I draw power from nature, then I too can become a walking deity of destruction. Okay, maybe not exactly that phrasing, but it was close enough. His eyes widened, not out of fear, out of sheer possibility. If this world had energy radiating from its stars, its atmosphere, its very cosmos, then why limit himself to Earth's natural energy? Why not go bigger, broader? Galactic Sage Mode. Anyone? Sure, he didn't have a PhD in interdimensional metaphysics, or whatever nonsense Zatanna and Batman would argue about in a coffee shop. But he had guts, and guts, as every ninja knew, were way more reliable than equations. Naruto spun on his heel and faced Superman, his expression somewhere between awe and "I just invented the ultimate jutsu in my head, and I need a snack." He jabbed a finger toward Clark. "You are the strongest person I've ever seen. Like by a mile. I don't even have a unit of measurement for how strong you are." Clark, who had been expecting mild horror or worship, was caught off guard by the compliment. Thank you." Naruto walked up, all wide-eyed and grinning like someone who'd just found a new training scroll labeled "How to be a demi-immortal in 10 days. He raised a fist. Clark blinked. "You're cool in my books," Naruto said. It was such a Naruto thing to say. No fear, no shame, just genuine admiration and a willingness to punch a mountain tomorrow if it meant catching up. Clark couldn't help but smile. He bumped the offered fist, and the knuckles made a satisfying thunk. "You're in my good books too." From the sidelines, Kara watched with arms folded, her expression somewhere between amused older sister and proud teacher. Zatanna leaned toward her and whispered, "He's going to be trouble, isn't he?" "Oh, definitely," Kara replied, "but the good kind." Naruto's mind, meanwhile, was already off somewhere else, calculating how much natural energy he could absorb if he meditated on top of a satellite during a solar flare. Because if Superman could bench press gravity, then Sage Mode was due for a major cosmic upgrade. Maybe he'd call it Solar Sage Mode, or Space Sage style Cosmic Rasengan Boom. He liked that last one. "QB," he said mentally, "we're gonna train until the moon explodes." Kurama groaned. "Why do I feel like this world is going to regret letting you live?" When Zatanna conjured the swirling blue portal and told Naruto to go wild, there were at least 3 possible outcomes. He'd throw a few cool jutsu. He'd blow up a small forest. He'd accidentally break gravity. Thankfully, it was only the second most destructive outcome. A win for containment zones everywhere. They stepped through the portal onto a wasteland so empty it could have been a deleted level from a video game. It stretched for miles in every direction, barren, silent, and rainforest, with more wards than a paranoid sorcerer's diary. "Naruto, go wild," Kara said, giving him a friendly shove like she just dared him to cannonball into a volcano. "Destroy whatever you want," she added, like it was no big deal. Naruto blinked. "Are you sure?" His voice had that specific "you've just handed me the big red button" tone. Zatanna smirked, arms folded. "Go for it. Just let us know if you plan on busting the planet." "Funny," Naruto snorted. Then he vanished. No jutsu flash. No dramatic shout. Just gone. Clark's eyes tracked him instantly, but the rest of the group saw only a golden-orange blur bolting across the desert like a sentient thunderclap. Naruto didn't start small. He reached a mountain the size of a skyscraper in under a second, reared back his fist and punched. The kind of punch that made the earth shudder like it just remembered it had anxiety. The entire mountain exploded, splintering into a billion dusty fragments. The shockwave kicked up a windstorm that nearly knocked Zatanna's hat off. "Okay," Kara said, brushing debris out of her hair. "He's definitely not from Kansas." Next came the kunai. Not regular ones. Oh no, these were chakra-enhanced, wind-laced throwing knives of doom. He whipped them out, mid-air, and threw. Each one streaked like a missile, slicing through solid rock like it owed him money. Then the Rasengan happened. Naruto summoned a shadow clone, whispered something that probably translated to, "Let's melt a continent," and together they formed a Rasengan the size of a house. A two-story one. They dove, spinning, glowing, hurling toward the next mountain, like the world's deadliest Beyblade. Boom. The mountain didn't crumble. It ceased to exist. When the dust finally settled, Naruto dropped lightly onto the cracked earth, calm as a monk, breathing in slow, steady rhythms. His hands still glowed faintly from the residual chakra. He turned back toward the group, and gave a casual shrug. "That good enough?" Clark Kent, aka Superman, smiled. "It wasn't a condescending "good job, kid" smile. It was the kind of smile you give when someone punches a hole through a mountain range, and then stands there like they just finished doing their laundry. "That was good," he said, nodding. "Thank you for the demonstration." What Naruto didn't know was that Clark had been analyzing everything: speed, form, precision, energy output, and adaptability. He didn't just watch Naruto's attacks, he saw through them. And what he saw? A warrior. Not just powerful, but disciplined. Not just fast, but tactical. Not just raw force, but years of experience. Each move Naruto made had intent, efficiency baked into every strike, every leap, every flick of a kunai. Clock's internal Kryptonian scanner clocked Naruto at map to 100, even without any transformation. That alone made him faster than most metahumans. Combined with chakra-enhanced durability, agility, and whatever eldritch nonsense powered that giant glowing sphere, Naruto was easily in the top tier of global threats. Well, global assets, Clock corrected mentally. Clark's electromagnetic aura would still dampen most of Naruto's attacks, and he knew that, but there was something else inside the boy. Something older, deeper. Not chakra, not mere physical might, but spirituality, intent, magic. And magic, Clark knew from experience, didn't play by physics. Naruto grinned, looking perfectly at home in a field of craters and broken hills. He didn't seem discouraged that Clark and Kara still outclassed him. He wasn't sulking or measuring power levels like a numbers game. He was excited. Excited to learn. Excited to grow. Excited to surpass everything. Clark recognized that fire. He'd seen it before, in Bruce, in Diana, even in young Billy Batson. But in Naruto, it burned differently. It wasn't born of tragedy or responsibility. It was born of hope. Zatanna stepped beside him, adjusting her gloves. "So, what do you think?" Clark didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked at Naruto, still grinning, still full of light in a world that wasn't his. "I think," Clark finally said, "we just found ourselves a new hero." Naruto had just finished vaporizing a mountain, the size of a small city, and was still riding that high when he turned to Zatanna with the eagerness of a kid in a candy shop who had just found the secret menu. "Zatanna, is there a way for me to learn more skills? he asked, arms crossed like he meant business. You've seen my list. It's pretty limited. I think I should at least learn teleportation. It could be useful for escaping bad situations. Zatanna raised a perfectly sculpted brow, clearly amused. It's not impossible, she said, her voice laced with mischief, given your potential. Naruto's eyes went wide like he'd just found ramen in the desert. Really? Yes, she confirmed, before dropping the magical hammer. But magic isn't just about waving your hands and saying bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. You'll have to study complex arcane theory, spatial equations, advanced sigil geometry. Naruto blinked. Not to mention understanding the inherent limitations of trans-dimensional folding and how energy signatures sync with ley lines. Naruto slowly blinked again, the light in his eyes flickering like a dying bulb. How are your academics? Zatanna asked sweetly. Naruto stared at her like she'd just asked him to recite the entire periodic table backward while underwater. Shit. Zatanna sighed like a parent, watching their kid try to microwave metal. That'll take you a few years then. Naruto clutched his head. Why is everything that helps you not die so freaking complicated? Because reality doesn't like being bent, she said cheerfully. And if you do it wrong, you don't just teleport into a wall, you might teleport into the sun. Naruto made a noise that could only be described as a spiritual groan. He looked at his hands, then at the sky, as if pleading to the Sage of Six Paths for a magical shortcut. Can't I just train it? Like chakra? Or punch a portal open or something? Zatanna looked genuinely appalled. Did you just say punch a portal? Hey, I once punched a guy so hard he had a flashback. It's not that far off. Tara snorted in the background, clearly enjoying the chaos. Clark, ever the composed one, was pretending not to smile. But Naruto wasn't done brainstorming. Wait, shadow clones, he said, snapping his fingers. I'll just make like 100 of them and have them study for me. Zatanna looked skeptical. Would that work? Totally. Everything they learn goes back to me. When they poof, boom, instant academic upgrade. Zatanna raised a hand, and will they be focused? Diligent scholars. He remembered that one time he left a group of clones to study a ceiling scroll and came back to find them playing poker with frogs. Probably not, he admitted. Zatanna gave him a knowing look, one hand on her hip. Then you'll have to learn the hard way. Yeah? Naruto flopped backwards onto a rock like it had personally betrayed him. Why does magic have homework? Naruto wasn't used to comfort. Sure, he'd gotten a few heartfelt words from Iruka-sensei back in the day, and Jiraiya had done his whole tough love shtick. But real physical comfort, a gentle hand on the back and a warm smile that said you're not alone in this. That was rarer than Sasuke telling a joke. So when Kara placed her hand on his back and smiled at him like he wasn't just a shinobi turned dimensionally lost wanderer, Naruto blinked like she'd handed him a bowl of ramen for free. You've got plenty of time to learn, she said gently, giving him a reassuring pat. So don't rush it and hurt yourself. Naruto sighed. He wanted to rush. He wanted to teleport yesterday and figure out cosmic secrets before dinner. But she wasn't wrong. Kara wasn't just powerful. She was wise in her own superpowered way. If she could be patient with herself, he could at least try to be patient with a book or two. Besides, Kara added, her grin lighting up like a solar flare, I gotta admit, your attacks had some real power behind them. I actually felt that punch a little. Naruto blinked again, this time in stunned silence. Wait, seriously? Yeah. Kara nodded. Not as much as Superman would, but you've got a good amount of oomph. Keep training. And who knows? Naruto's face broke into a wide grin. His confidence, which had taken a hit after watching Clark casually moonjog through space, perked up like a puppy, hearing the treat bag rustle. Ha! Told you I'm awesome, he said, puffing out his chest dramatically. Zatanna cleared her throat loudly, interrupting the budding ego trip. She clapped her hands together like a teacher about to assign weekend homework. All right, ego nin, she said. Time's up. You three need rest, and possibly food, and definitely sleep. With a flick of her wrist and a whispered incantation that sounded suspiciously like someone sneezing backward, a glowing, swirling portal tore open before them. It looked like a cross between a rainbow smoothie and a black hole, with good intentions. Naruto tilted his head. That goop leads to the Young Justice place. Headquarters, Zatanna corrected. Don't call it place. They'll make you clean the bathrooms for that. Kara laughed and nudged Naruto forward. Come on, I'll introduce you to the team. You'll like them. Especially Beast Boy. He's loud, annoying, and totally your type. Wait, what's my type? Naruto asked, raising a brow. Chaos Gremlin Energy, Kara replied without hesitation. Naruto gave her a look. A beat passed. You're not wrong. Zaitana rolled her eyes and gave them a two-finger wave. Go cause trouble somewhere else. Please. I have spells to organize. The trio stepped through the portal, the magical light wrapping around them like a warm breeze. As Naruto disappeared into the swirl of color and magic, he glanced back one last time at the wasteland he'd nearly flattened. He hadn't found his way home yet, but he had found something close. A new path. New allies. And maybe, just maybe, a new kind of home. Alien tech and emotional wrecks, in which Naruto gets a tour, shares trauma-like snacks, and maybe makes a friend. When Naruto first stepped into Mount Justice, he expected, well, something impressive. What he didn't expect was a base that looked like a spaceship, and a science lab had a baby, and then let Batman raise it. He glanced around, taking it all in with quiet awe. Sleek walls that hummed with hidden power, floors that shone without being polished, and panels that glowed like chakra seals drawn by lightning. Well, Naruto muttered to himself, this makes the Hokage office look like a shack. Even the air smelled clean. Unnaturally clean. Suspiciously clean. He half expected a disembodied voice to announce, sanitizing ninja detected initiating anti-scroll protocol. But what really struck him wasn't the tech, it was how empty the place felt. A base this big should have been crawling with teammates, advisors, sidekicks, and probably a few over-caffeinated speedsters. Instead, it was quiet. Clark, floating beside him with all the subtlety of a mountain in tights, seemed to notice too. This is a rare scene, Superman murmured. Before Naruto could ask what exactly that meant, Kara zoomed ahead like a flying puppy on a sugar rush. Hey guys, how have you been? Naruto followed her gaze and spotted a small group of girls walking through the hangar. There were 4 of them, and they all radiated. I've punched a villain before breakfast. Energy. Kara made a beeline for Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, and tackled her in a mid-air hug. Supergirl, where have you been? Barbara yelped, staggering back a step. Sorry I didn't tell you. Kara replied sheepishly, brushing hair out of her face. I went back to where Krypton used to exist. Just like that, the mood dipped. Naruto, still adjusting to the emotional roller coaster that was Kara Danvers, watched as the others reacted with silent understanding. Even from across the room, he could tell, these weren't just teammates. They were family. Miss Martian stepped forward with a kind smile and extended her hand. Her soft green features reminded Naruto of a frog summon, if frogs had graceful posture and mind-reading powers. It's good to see you again, she said. Same here, Kara replied. Are you still following the team closely? Magan nodded. Yes, I think senior members should stay involved. Help the new ones grow. Naruto stayed back, awkward but observant. This wasn't his moment, and he knew it. But that didn't stop Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark, from noticing the new arrival. Hey, she said, tilting her head. Who's the guy with the whiskers? Naruto scratched his cheek. Hi, I'm Naruto, not a cat, despite the face. That got a laugh from Bumblebee, who floated over on her tiny wings before growing to full size again. I like him already. Kara spun around with a proud smile, slinging an arm over Naruto's shoulders. Everyone, meet Naruto Uzumaki. He's from another world. Literally. Another dimension, Clark clarified. Because of course he did. Batgirl blinked. Is it weird that I'm not surprised anymore? Not at all, Magan added. It's Tuesday. Naruto gave a small wave, a bit overwhelmed but hiding it well. He wasn't used to meeting people who didn't immediately ask if he was going to blow something up. Nice to meet you all, he said. This place is amazing. I've seen hidden villages, toad palaces, and floating turtle islands. But this is next level. Naruto flashed his signature grin, the one that said, I've been through 3 life-or-death battles and 5 bowls of ramen today. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly, addressing the group like he'd just walked into a barbecue instead of a secret superhero base. Nice to meet you all. I hope we can get along while I'm here. If you ever need help, don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to lend a hand. Cassie, always the straightforward type, crossed her arms and narrowed her eyes, not suspicious, just curious. What can you do? To her credit, she didn't scoff or smirk or throw out a sarcastic comment. She just wanted to know who this whisker-faced guy was, and whether he was more cool ally or liability in spandex. Before Naruto could answer, Kara stepped in like a proud older sister, who definitely didn't just meet him a few hours ago. He's stronger than most of the team, and has some insane ranged abilities. Naruto quickly waved her off. Hold up, he said, grinning. I think the best way to understand each other is through combat. That got everyone's attention. Barbara, who was leaning against a nearby table typing into a tablet, paused mid-keystroke. Bumblebee blinked. Megan tilted her head like a curious cat. And Cassie's grin was slow but wicked. You want to spar the whole team? Yep, Naruto said cheerfully, as if suggesting a board game instead of open combat. No better way to get to know each other. You see how someone moves, how they think, it's the shinobi way. Kara frowned slightly, but it wasn't disapproval, it was concern. Naruto, I don't think that's a good idea. Some of the team members are really strong. No problem, Naruto replied with a shrug. It's just sparring, no danger of death, right? Clark, who had remained quiet long enough to make the walls uncomfortable, finally nodded thoughtfully. Okay, he said, I'll allow it, but full supervision. You pull your punches. Everyone pulls their punches. Barbara, however, held up a hand like a referee about to declare a timeout. Can we not do this now? The boys aren't here, and Nightwing already gave us a recon mission. We're leaving in 20 minutes. Naruto gave a dramatic sigh, equal parts theatrical and genuine. All right, another time then. In truth, he was itching to test himself against them. This world had so many new kinds of power, magic Kryptonians, Martians, gadgeteers with more belts than sense, and Naruto wanted to see where he stood. But he wasn't reckless. Not anymore. Observe and learn first, he told himself. Strike later. For now, he leaned back and folded his arms, watching as the girls gathered around a large holotable to review mission parameters. Kara gave him an encouraging nudge on the shoulder as she passed by. You'll get your chance, she said with a smirk. Just don't try to fight them all at once. That's my job. Naruto chuckled, settling into a chair with the kind of relaxed tension only trained warriors ever fully understood. Kara's brow furrowed. Wait a second, what is Nightwing doing here? She asked, tilting her head like a confused cat presented with a cucumber. Wasn't he leading the Titans? Barbara let out the kind of sigh reserved for bad coffee and emotional landmines. They broke up. Not long after you left. That stopped Kara cold. What? Why? There was a pause, the kind you only hear right before someone drops a social nuke. Relationship problems, Barbara said flatly. Kara winced. Yikes. Go on. Cyborg joined the Justice League full-time, Barbara continued, ticking off on her fingers. And Beast Boy broke up with Raven, which, well, she kind of disappeared after that. Kara blinked. Disappeared, or stormed off and slammed the dimension door. Disappeared. The latter, no one's heard from her since. That hit Naruto like a brick. He hadn't known Raven personally, hadn't even met her yet, but something about it felt wrong. He straightened, his tone sharp. Wait, what happened to Raven? Barbara gave a sidelong glance. Nobody really knows. She can travel between dimensions, so she just vanished. Naruto frowned. And you just let her go. The room shifted slightly. Kara's shoulders tensed. Bumblebee raised an eyebrow. Even Miss Martian turned to look more closely. Heartbreak can mess someone up badly, Naruto continued, his tone growing more intense. She might act strong, but that kind of pain, that can twist you inside out. Someone should have been there. You don't just let a teammate suffer alone. Kara sighed, rubbing her arm. Naruto, Raven's incredibly powerful. If she loses control, she could take down the entire league. She already did once, back when she... Exactly, Naruto snapped. That makes it worse. She's already dangerous because of what she holds inside. That means she needs support, not space. Barbara crossed her arms, defensive but not unkind. Look, I get it, but most of us never really knew Raven. She wasn't League, she wasn't Young Justice, she was a Titan. Naruto scoffed, shaking his head like someone being told ramen was just soup. Doesn't matter, you don't need to be best friends to care. A teammate's a teammate. You check in. You try. That's what it means to be on a team. The silence that followed was thick with reflection. Kara looked down. Barbara bit her lip. McGann fiddled with her communicator. Superman, who had been standing quietly at the side like the literal statue of moral responsibility, finally spoke. You're right, Naruto. All heads turned. Clark stepped forward, his eyes calm but resolute. I'll have someone look into Raven's location. I should have done it earlier. Naruto blinked. That was fast. Even he wasn't expecting Superman to just agree like that. But then he saw the look in Clark's eyes, one of genuine conviction, and he knew it wasn't a hollow promise. Thanks, Naruto said quietly. I know I'm new here, but no one should have to go through heartbreak alone. Superman gave a small but warm smile. That's a good way to think. Kara clapped Naruto on the back, nearly knocking the wind out of him. Look at you, emotional and practical. You're going to fit right in. Let's just hope you don't try to fight Raven when we find her, Bumblebee muttered under her breath. Only if she tries to blow up a dimension, Naruto said with a wink. The girls started to head out toward the Zeta Tube, mission brief in hand. Cassie gave Naruto one last look over her shoulder. There was something about him, something strong. Sure, but also something that listened to pain instead of running from it. That was rare. She didn't say anything, just nodded once, like a silent, I see you, and followed the others. As the mission team zipped off into the Zeta Tube with farewell waves and hero-level nonchalance, Naruto turned to Kara and Clark. So, what now? Clark chuckled with the calm authority of someone who'd bench-pressed Jupiter last Tuesday. Now, you get settled in, but something tells me you'll fit in just fine. Naruto grinned. Maybe, just maybe, this world wasn't all steel buildings and existential crises. Mount Justice. 10 minutes and at least 5 Kara speedwalks later. Come on, Kara said, practically bouncing. Let me show you around. Naruto followed her through the sleek, humming halls of Mount Justice, his gaze flicking from glowing panels to automated doors that opened like they were trained to greet royalty. This place is insane, he muttered, half in awe, half in genuine bewilderment. I've never seen anything like it. Kara smirked. Yeah, I figured. You come from a world with more magic than tech, right? Right, he nodded. We use chakra. It powers everything from our light bulbs to our jutsus. We don't really do glowing panels and hover screens. We just, explode things with our minds. He turned to her, raising a brow. What about you? You look human, but you've got that flying and laser eyes thing going on. So, alien? Kara's playful smile faded into something quieter. You're right, I'm not human. I'm Kryptonian. Naruto blinked. Crypto what? Kryptonian, she corrected with a soft laugh. My planet, Krypton, was destroyed a long time ago. I was sent to Earth as a baby to survive, but things didn't go smoothly. I arrived years later than I was supposed to. My cousin Superman had already grown up. The weight of it hit Naruto immediately. So, you're an orphan too? Kara gave a small nod. Yeah. And just like that, the gleaming corridors and futuristic wonders faded into the background. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was shared. I know what that's like, Naruto said, his voice softer now. I lost my parents the day I was born. They died protecting me from a monster. Kara's gaze turned to him, her features touched with gentle sympathy. I'm sorry, Naruto. He smiled. An old smile, heavy at the edges. It's okay. I didn't know them growing up, but I learned later that they loved me. Knowing that, it helped. Kara studied him carefully. His strength wasn't just in fists and flashy moves. It was in how he carried his pain without letting it crush him. You're different from most warriors I've met, she said quietly. You've been through so much, but you still care about others. Most people, they let pain turn them cold. Naruto shrugged, not out of arrogance, but simplicity. I've been angry. I've hated, but none of that helped. It just made everything worse. So I decided I won't let my pain decide who I am. Kara's heart tugged a little at that. She didn't say it, but she had needed to hear those words. He didn't even know it, but he'd offered something rare. Perspective.
That's really amazing, Naruto.
He rubbed the back of his head with a sheepish grin. Nah, it's just how I roll. She smirked. No, it is amazing. One slightly emotional bonding montage later. Kura led him to a clean, surprisingly cozy room. Bed, desk, closet, and best of all, 0 evil monsters lurking in corners. "Well, this is your place now," she said, leaning against the doorway. "Make yourself at home." Naruto looked around. It wasn't much, but it was his, at least for now. "Thanks, Kara. I appreciate you showing me around." "Anytime," she said, hesitating just long enough for it to mean something. "If you ever need anything, just ask." "Okay." He gave her a sincere nod. "I will. Same goes for you." She smiled, and something unspoken passed between them. Not romance, not yet, but connection. "Trust. Deal," she said, and walked away. Naruto sat on the bed, staring at the clean white ceiling above him. He was still far from home, but now it didn't feel quite so lonely. With Kara gone and silence hugging the corners of the room, Naruto lay sprawled on the bed like a starfish with a chakra hangover. The lights of Mount Justice dimmed automatically, reacting to his stillness like some kind of mood-setting jutsu. His eyes fixed on the ceiling, but his mind raced miles ahead. "This world's insane. I'm surrounded by people who punch planets and sneeze through black holes. If I want to survive here, I need to level up. Fast." He had no idea how long he'd be stuck in this dimension, but one thing was clear. Waiting around wasn't an option. The thought of expanding Sage Mode was tempting, sure, but also terrifying. Going too far too fast, and poof, he'd turn into a very philosophical lawn ornament. "I need a new approach," he muttered. And that's when it happened. A deep, rumbling voice, like an earthquake in a cave full of sarcasm, echoed in his mind. "Naruto, come inside." Oh, he knew that voice. The ancient, growly, sometimes grumpy, occasionally sarcastic embodiment of fire and destruction. Kurama, inside the mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes in his subconscious, standing once again before the massive iron gate. The water at his feet rippled gently, and behind the bars loomed a presence that could scare most gods into therapy. Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, lay coiled in lazy power, crimson eyes half-lidded like he'd just woken from a 1,000-year nap he barely tolerated. "I'm here," Naruto said, arms crossed. "I can see that, genius," Kurama replied with a roll of his eyes. "No snarling, no insults about humans being parasites. Progress." Naruto squinted. "Okay, spill it. What do you want?" Kurama let out a breath like a snorting volcano. "I've been thinking we need to work together. And for that, I need you to open the seal." Naruto blinked. "You mean that seal?" He pointed dramatically at the glowing kanji that looked like it belonged in a magical instruction manual titled, "How Not to Unleash Doom." "Yes," Kurama replied flatly. "And no, I'm not trying to eat your soul or possess your body or whatever horror movie nonsense you're thinking." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "So what's the catch? Why the sudden team spirit?" Kurama leaned forward, his claws tapping the floor ominously. "Because you're floundering, kid. You're strong, sure, but in this world, you're a candle in a hurricane. You need me, and whether you like it or not, I'm your best shot at surviving here." Naruto didn't deny it, but he did glare. "You're really gonna say that like you're some genius strategist?" Kurama's tails flicked. "Compared to you? Yes. I've lived for centuries, fought monsters, watched empires crumble, and survived long enough to become folklore. You once tried to solve a hostage crisis by headbutting the bomb. That did work, though. By accident." Naruto grumbled, but didn't argue. "Fair point. Okay, smart guy. Prove it. Give me something I can't argue with." Kurama smirked. "Use Sage Mode. Look at me. See if I still reek of rage and death." Naruto hesitated. Then, with a familiar hand sign, he pulled in the natural energy around him. His eyes shifted, his pupils turned to slits, orange pigment framing his face. The world sharpened. It always did in Sage Mode. He turned his gaze toward the fox, and froze. Whoa. Because the usual chaotic swirl of malice and killing intent wasn't there. Kurama felt calm. Not harmless, of course. He was still a living WMD, but not hostile. "You don't feel like a monster anymore," Naruto whispered. Kurama's expression softened. "Just a little. Because I'm not really, I never was." Naruto cocked his head. "Okay, then what is your real name? Because I've been calling you Ninetales like you're a Pokemon." The fox let out a low chuckle. "Kurama." Naruto blinked. Seriously? Kurama smirked. What, were you expecting something like Death Fang, the Eternal Flame? A little, yeah? They shared a rare moment of silence. Alright, Kurama, Naruto said finally. What's the plan? Kurama's gaze sharpened. You're actually thinking now. You've changed. Naruto's smirk faded. His voice dropped lower. Lost does that to people. And just like that, Kurama understood. This wasn't just about strength anymore. This was about survival, redemption, and maybe something. So here's the scene. Inside Naruto's brain, which, let's be honest, is already a chaotic place full of ramen dreams and fight replays. There's a massive sewer chamber holding a murder fox the size of a mountain. Kurama, the great and fearsome Ninetales, loomed behind his cage like an ancient landlord who's very tired of his tenant ignoring rent, life lessons, and common sense. Alright, Kurama said, his voice deep enough to register on seismographs. Listen carefully. You know that I am pure chakra, correct? Naruto, ever the attentive scholar, note sarcasm, nodded confidently. Yeah, obviously. Kurama stared at him. The silence that followed was heavy and slightly judgmental. Do you know how much chakra? Naruto tilted his head. A lot. If Kurama had a forehead, he'd have been massaging it. I am part of the Jubi, the Ten Tails, genius. The big cosmic beast that came from the planet itself. So yeah, I'm walking around with the chakra equivalent of half a planet. Naruto's eyes widened. Just slightly. He did his best to look cool about it. Okay, and what's the point? Kurama narrowed his eyes. This is why you need my help. I've got chakra coming out of my metaphorical ears, and my strongest attack can barely blow up a city. I couldn't take out a moon, let alone a planet. Wanna know why? You're secretly holding back, because deep down, you love humanity. Kurama gave him a deadpan stare that could flatten mountains. No, it's because I never trained, never refined my techniques. I relied purely on raw power. I thought it would always be enough. He paused, his tail swaying behind him like angry tree branches. But power without control? It's wasted potential. And you, my little ramen-obsessed meathead, are walking the same path. Naruto blinked. Wait, I'm doing it too. Yes, Kurama growled. You've got enough chakra to light up a country, and yet you keep blowing it on giant flashy moves with zero efficiency. You've basically been fighting like a blender on fire. Naruto opened his mouth, then closed it. That was uncomfortably accurate. Look at the pink-haired girl on your team, Kurama went on, voice smug now. She's got maybe a cup of chakra compared to your ocean, and yet, with a little bit of control and training, she could flatten you with one punch if you weren't using Sage Mode. Naruto gave a lopsided grin. Yeah, Sakura is pretty amazing. That's not the point, idiot, Kurama snapped, nearly causing a mental earthquake. This is about control. Bigger isn't better. Stronger comes from smaller. Precision, compression, efficiency. Think sniper rifle, not bazooka. Naruto scratched his head. Okay, I get it. You want me to start refining my chakra instead of just chucking it at everything like a kid with fireworks. Kurama sighed, then nodded. Exactly. And that brings us to your next lesson. You've never truly used Sage Mode to its full potential. You mean, absorbing more nature energy? Not more, Kurama corrected. You've never absorbed it to match your entire chakra reserve. That gave Naruto pause. Wait, like me, full of chakra and full of nature energy at the same time. Exactly, Kurama said. Your base chakra is equal to one of my tails. In Sage Mode you match two, but with my full cooperation, you'll be able to absorb natural energy that matches both our reserves. That's more than a planet's worth of Senjutsu chakra. Naruto's jaw dropped. His brain spun faster than a Rasen Shuriken mid-throw. He had to sit down. Mentally, of course. So basically, I go Ultra Sage Mode. Absorb all that juicy cosmic juice, and then unlock your full power. Yes, Kurama said. As a safety measure, yes. So I don't die, or explode. Yes. Cool. Naruto rubbed his chin thoughtfully, then smirked. So what you're saying is, you want me to power up first, before unlocking you, just to be safe. Kurama narrowed his eyes, Did you drop your balls on the way here? Naruto burst out laughing. If there was a book called How to Make Questionable Life Choices with a grin, Naruto Uzumaki would have been the cover model, probably twice. Shirtless, flexing with a Rasengan in one hand and a ramen bowl in the other. Because when faced with the decision of unlocking a cosmic chakra beast with a history of mass destruction and a temper issue that could crack planets, Naruto didn't hesitate. He climbed up the massive iron gate that had caged Kurama for his entire life, planted both hands on the seal, took a breath, YOLO, and ripped that thing off like it was just another ramen wrapper. A deep, echoing sound pulsed through the chamber, like thunder rolling through a mountain as the seal disintegrated. The towering bars vanished with a shimmer, leaving only silence and a whole lot of nervous chakra butterflies. Kurama blinked. That actually worked. He stepped forward, stretching for the first time in centuries. His massive form loomed like a walking natural disaster, tails lazily swaying, chakra thick enough to feel like humidity. Finally, Kurama rumbled, voice echoing like ancient drums, "After hundreds of years, I am free." Naruto stood there, not flinching, not running, just watching, because for once, he trusted the fox. Also, Superman existed in this world, and Kurama, not suicidal. Kurama leaned down, extended one claw, and booped Naruto right on the forehead. Big mistake? Nope. Biggest power-up of Naruto's life. Because suddenly, Naruto felt like the universe hit the unlock all cheats button inside his soul. His chakra exploded outward, not literally. Thankfully, his reserves swelled like someone had added a dozen zeros to the end of his spiritual bank account. Every nerve lit up like a Christmas tree on steroids. His breath caught in his throat. This is insane. Naruto gasped, eyes glowing with raw energy. Kurama grinned. It was unsettling, majestic, and vaguely adorable, all at once. And that's just the appetizer. Don't faint yet, champ. Naruto blinked. Wait, there's more. Did you forget about Sage Mode already? Kurama teased, a glint in his eyes. Naruto slapped his forehead. Oh my god. No way. No way! Yes way, Kurama said, sounding way too smug for a literal chakra monster. With Sage Mode balanced with both our full reserves, you'll have access to energy on a planetary scale. Literal Sage-powered world-breaker stuff. You're welcome. Naruto looked like he was having a minor spiritual crisis and a sugar high at the same time. That's ridiculous. That's like cheat codes. I'd be a walking nuke with eyebrows. Kurama smirked. Exactly. But here's the catch. You can't just stand in a battlefield doing yoga to gather all that nature energy. You'd get punched into next week. Naruto nodded. Right. Because I don't want to die mid-meditation. That's why I'm helping you, Kurama said, casually flexing his tails. I'm gonna teach you chakra control, senjutsu absorption, precision, everything you need to earn that power, not just luck into it. Naruto stared at him. This was real. He wasn't dreaming. The monster that once snarled death threats at him now sounded like a grumpy, jaded teacher with cosmic-level power and sass. You're serious, Naruto said. Kurama puffed out his chest like a proud mythological sensei. Dead serious. From now on, we train, we refine, we dominate. We become monsters. Then he laughed. A deep, wicked, vibrating laugh that sounded like a villain monologue, but with good intentions. Naruto had a thought. This was dangerous. Not because Naruto wasn't smart, he had good instincts and a stubborn heart of gold, but because when he did think too hard, something utterly chaotic usually followed. So of course, he asked the one question that would flip his entire understanding of chakra on its head. Hey, Kurama, how different was your father's Sage Mode from mine? Kurama, ancient, eternal, and perpetually annoyed, stared at him like someone who had just asked if the moon was made of ramen. Then his expression changed. It grew serious. Weighty. Dad mode serious. Very different, Kurama said slowly. His Sage Mode wasn't just a technique, it was like flipping a universal switch. Nature energy entered him with a thought. He could absorb a planet's worth of energy in a heartbeat, and even without Sage Mode, he had more chakra than the planet itself. Naruto's jaw twitched. Sounds like cheating. Kurama gave a snort. You're not wrong. But then he added something that really broke Naruto's noodle. Nature isn't just trees and frogs, Naruto, it's everything. Gravity, time, heat, radiation, electromagnetism. If it exists naturally in the universe, it's part of the grand system of nature. Naruto blinked. Wait. You're saying Sage Mode can, control gravity? Kurama smirked. Eventually, at the highest level, yes. Naruto had to sit down for a second. That was too much philosophical science chakra soup for one day. So what else could your dad do? He asked. Kurama's eyes half-lidded, distant. He was young, didn't fight much. But I saw him use wood release, gravity manipulation, all elements, and those orbs. Truth-seeking balls? Naruto perked up. Kurama nodded. Yeah. Condensed reality-breaking death orbs. Real crowd pleasers. They were the combined essence of all chakra nature, able to erase anything, even souls. Naruto's eyes sparkled like he'd just seen a jutsu menu at a ninja buffet. Can I get those too? Kurama shrugged, casual, as ever. If you master Sage Mode on a higher level, maybe. But first, you need to get used to keeping Sage Mode on all the time. Let your body absorb and adapt, like chakra-enhanced conditioning. Naruto's eyes blazed with determination. Kurama, you're a genius. Let's do it. He immediately plopped into lotus position, hands clasped, ready to vibe with the universe. He started drawing in nature energy like it was his first cup of morning ramen. Kurama just stared at him with a look that was half admiration, half you better not blow yourself up. And then, he saw it. A faint, silvery shimmer threaded into Naruto's chakra, a ghost of warmth, of legacy. Ashura's chakra. It's finally awakening. Kurama felt something strange stir in his chest, a flicker of hope, pride, definitely indigestion. Probably also pride. He turned his attention back to the meditating teen. Naruto was raw, powerful, and earnest. He had freed Kurama without hesitation. Not as a tool, not as a weapon, as a partner. Kurama could work with that. Then he frowned. He really should have bothered his teachers for more jutsu. Because now they were stuck with, 2 Rasengan variations and a very creative clone spam strategy. Great. Kurama rolled his eyes. At least he's got wind release. And then his inner ancient dad kicked in. His wind control is decent, but as always he ignored it after learning one cool move. If he focused, he could be generating hurricanes, creating wind blades, air pressure prisons, slicing atoms. Heck, collapse someone's lung by messing with internal airflow. By the time Kurama finished internally ranting, he had a whole training arc planned, a terrifyingly effective one. Step 1. Clone Army. Step 2. Chakra Control Boot Camp. Step 3. Wind Jetsu War Crimes. Step 4. Sage Mode X Planetary Fusion X Spiritual Enlightenment. Step 5. Step 6. Profit. He even considered throwing in science books, force mass X acceleration, and all that jazz. Kurama huffed, then grinned. For the first time in centuries, the QB didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt like a mentor, a coach, a terrifying mystical fox dad with a plan. Let's do it, kid, he whispered, watching the faint glow of natural energy bloom around Naruto. Let's turn you into something legendary. Because the world had seen monsters. It had seen heroes. But it hadn't seen Naruto Uzumaki, Sage of Storms and Shadow. Yet. Naruto was meditating like a champ. Golden energy swirled around him like a celestial rave, the air crackling with raw power. To the untrained eye, it probably looked like someone had dropped a sun inside Mount Justice. To Red Tornado, however, it looked like an emergency. Within seconds, the android hero phased through the walls of Naruto's room, his glowing red eyes scanning every atom like a mechanical guardian angel with a mild suspicion of explosions. Naruto Uzumaki, Red Tornado said, his voice calm but firm. Your energy levels have increased exponentially. You were instructed to rest. Are you in distress? Naruto blinked open one eye mid-meditation, looking completely unbothered despite glowing like a nuclear ramen packet. Oh, hey robot guy. Red Tornado tilted his head. I am not merely a robot guy. I am Red Tornado. I am the supervisor of this facility in the absence of the League. Naruto stood up, stretching his limbs, still surrounded by a faint golden aura. Sorry. Didn't mean to trigger an alert or whatever. I'm fine, just training. Behind him, two identical clones sat cross-legged, eyes closed, pulling in nature energy like spiritual vacuum cleaners. "They're collecting more energy for me," Naruto explained casually. "Figured I'd multitask." Red Tornado's glowing eyes narrowed. "Clones of yourself?" "Yep. Shadow clones? It's kinda my thing." The android paused, processing approximately 24 things at once, including the fact that this new guest had just casually performed high-level multitasking chakra manipulation while still technically on bed rest. Noted. That's when Kurama, ever the peanut gallery in Naruto's head, piped up. "Ask him if his name means he can control wind." Naruto blinked. "Wait, seriously, that's your question? Not is he gonna tattle to Superman, or why does he have zero fashion sense?"
Just ask, idiot.
Naruto turned back toward Red Tornado. "Hey, weird question, but since you're called Red Tornado, does that mean you, control wind or something?" Red Tornado's chest vent flickered as he gave a slow nod. "Affirmative. My primary combat ability is aerokinesis, the manipulation of wind currents, atmospheric pressure, and related phenomena." Naruto's eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. "No way, you're a wind guy too?" The clones broke meditation just long enough to glance over with matching grins. "Wind bros," they whispered before going back to channeling energy. Naruto stepped forward, bouncing slightly on his toes with excitement. "Okay, listen, I'm working on improving my wind release. I know the basics, but I kinda got distracted by, saving the world and stuff. But if you're good with wind, maybe you could help me get better." Red Tornado paused. In truth, he had never trained a shinobi with glowing eyes, demon fox energy, and the conversational energy of a caffeinated golden retriever. But he had taught younger heroes before, and Naruto, for all his chaotic vibes, did seem eager and polite. "Mostly, I can assist," he said finally. "Provided you follow safety protocols, you are still recovering from psychological trauma and excessive chakra use." Yeah, trauma, nightmares, inner demons, literally I get it," Naruto said, waving a hand. "But I feel better when I'm training, and besides," he gave a small smile, "helping people is easier when you're strong enough to stand on your own." Red Tornado's sensors registered a subtle truth in that statement. Despite his strange demeanor, Naruto meant it. "Very well. I will construct a wind manipulation simulation in the training chamber. We will begin with precision drills. Control precedes power." Naruto gave an exaggerated salute. "Yes. Sensei Cyclone," Kurama groaned. "Please never say that again." As the clones dispelled to feed their gathered energy into Naruto's core, the golden glow around him stabilized, blending seamlessly into his natural chakra. Red Tornado turned and began walking toward the hallway. It had been a long time since anyone had asked Red Tornado to teach them anything. Most of the teenage heroes at Mount Justice already had mentors. Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Superman, basically the Justice League with an extended family discount. So even though Red Tornado was technically their supervisor, he often felt like the camp counselor who only got called in when someone broke the rules or set the kitchen on fire. Helpful? Yes. Inspirational? Meh. Memorable? Not unless you like talking to air purifiers with dad energy. But now, as Naruto eagerly followed him down the steel corridors toward the training room, something stirred in Red Tornado's synthetic chest cavity. Not a heart, of course. But something. Maybe nostalgia. Maybe the ghost of a smile in his code. 5 years ago, Superboy and Kid Flash would have called him Toaster Dad, or asked if he could DJ with his chest vents. Now here he was, actually about to teach again. The training room was empty. Just reinforced floors, high ceilings, and more battle damage than your average high school locker room. Naruto bounced in place like a kid before a field trip. "So, show me the cool stuff." Red Tornado stepped forward, the lights reflecting off his crimson and gold alloy. "Observe." With a faint whir of internal turbines, the air around him shifted. In seconds, a small tornado spun to life beside him, swirling with surgical precision and staying contained within a defined area. Tornado formation. Controlled rotation of wind currents, focused into a tight spiral, used for offense, defense, and distraction. With a simple twist of his palm, the twister collapsed, whoosh, like a magician's disappearing trick. Next. He extended his arm, and a shimmering wall of compressed air snapped into existence in front of him, just in time to deflect a practice energy blast fired from a corner turret. Wind barrier can deflect physical projectiles and certain energy types. Requires precise balance. Then, without moving from his spot, Red Tornado clenched his fists and boom! The air pressure around Naruto dropped, like a switch had been flipped. The weight of the world vanished, and he suddenly felt like he was floating underwater. Vacuum removes oxygen from a space. Most living beings cannot function without it. Naruto gasped and took a step back, blinking rapidly. Whoa, okay, we're getting serious now. Then came the pressure spike. Red Tornado raised both arms and crack! The air compressed like a fist from all directions. Naruto suddenly felt his body grow heavy, like someone had dropped a mountain on him. Atmospheric pressure increase, used to pin targets or crush weak materials. Extremely effective against flyers and high-speed combatants. He relaxed, and the room returned to normal. These are merely examples. Manipulating air is not simply about pushing it around. It is about understanding its presence, its weight, and its absence. Naruto stood in silence, mouth slightly agape. I'm starting to think I've been using wind like a caveman with a leaf blower. Red Tornado didn't laugh. His programming didn't really do that, but the brief flicker in his optic lenses was probably the android equivalent of a chuckle. Perhaps, but your chakra gives you potential. Focused intent turns raw energy into usable technique. He stepped back and clasped his hands behind his back in his usual upright posture. I have shown you enough for now. Practice what you have seen. If you require assistance, I will provide limited guidance, within reason. Naruto tilted his head. Why only within reason? Red Tornado's eyes dimmed slightly. Because your position here is not yet secure. You are powerful, yes, but unvetted. The League must still evaluate you. Until then, I cannot fully commit to training you. Naruto nodded slowly, understanding. Fair enough. He glanced down at his palms, the chakra already humming just beneath the surface, itching to test everything he'd seen. Well, even if it's part-time help, I appreciate it. Seriously. Red Tornado nodded. Good. Then begin. As Naruto started channeling Wing Chakra, trying to mimic the tornado formation without turning himself into a mop, Red Tornado silently turned away and observed from a distance. For the first time in years, he wasn't just a glorified hall monitor. He was a teacher again. And this new student was definitely going to keep him on his turbines. The moon hung high above the island, casting silver light over the rugged cliffs and whispering trees. Waves lapped at the shore far below, but up here, on the lonely peak of the mountain, Naruto sat cross-legged, perfectly still, save for the occasional flicker of golden energy around him. If you squinted hard enough, you'd see what looked like a glowing sun god taking a breather after a long day of pretending to be a ninja. His new form shimmered in the darkness, golden chakra cloak swirling gently, the markings of the Sage of Six Paths glowing faintly along his skin. And in his eyes, still and wise, the unmistakable frog-like pattern of Sage Mode. He was in Bijou Sage Mode now. And finally, it felt right. For the first time since arriving on this wild new world, Naruto felt like he had found balance between his chakra, Kurama's power, and the overwhelming presence of natural energy flowing through the earth. He opened his eyes slowly, letting the sensations wash over him. Man, he muttered, this planet's just full of juice. He wasn't wrong. Compared to his old world, the Earth was like a buffet of nature energy. Thick, potent, everywhere. He barely had to concentrate to enter Sage Mode here. His body practically soaked it in like a sponge at a hot spring. Kurama stirred lazily in his mind. Told you, this world's different. It breeds power. Naruto frowned thoughtfully. It's almost like nature energy changed the people here. Like their genes evolved because of how much energy they were around. You're not wrong, Kurama replied, his tone more serious than usual. Maybe that's why beings like Kryptonians exist, or Martians, or that metal guy you trained with today. Naruto leaned back, resting on his palms, as he stared at the stars. Still, it's weird. This planet likes me, like more than my own ever did. That's just messed up. Kurama scoffed. That's not messed up, that's karma finally doing its damn job. Naruto smirked. Take. About time. But as he settled deeper into meditation, a strange realization began to tickle his brain, like the world was humming around him, with him, the rocks beneath him, the air, the trees, the ocean. They didn't resist his chakra, they welcomed it, they accepted him. He blinked slowly. Am I Earth's favorite now? Please don't say that out loud, Kurama muttered. You sound like an arrogant squirrel. Naruto grinned, but a beloved squirrel, and then came the letdown. Naruto furrowed his brows as he began crunching numbers in his head. Chakra math wasn't exactly his strong suit, but he wasn't that dumb. Hey, Kurama, didn't you say your chakra was half a planet's worth? Kurama was quiet. Too quiet. Because I'm running the numbers now, and this feels like, I don't know, maybe 30%. More silence. Kurama. The fox sighed. Loudly. Okay, fine. Maybe I forgot a minor detail. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Like what? You know, how Minato sealed half my chakra into the Shinigami. That half. The part that's still stuck in literal death prison. Naruto facepalmed. You forgot about the Shinigami? I've had a long life, okay? You try keeping track of your organs when you're split in half by mystical death gods. Naruto groaned. So the grand I am half the planet's chakra speech was just bluffing. Kurama huffed. Hey, it still sounds cool. And technically, with Sage Mode, we are at 60% planetary power. So, you're welcome. Naruto chuckled despite himself. Guess we're still OP. Damn right, we are. He let out a slow breath, letting the energy settle in his limbs. He felt calm now. Ready, the trauma, the chaos, the overwhelming newness of this world, it was still there, but it didn't define him. He was Naruto Uzumaki, and he was just getting started. As the stars sparkled above and the ocean sang below, a breeze carried his words softly into the night. All right, Earth, if you like me this much, I'll protect you too. The wind seemed to answer. I love you. I must be hearing things.